This video will examine what validity is. So what is validity? So validity is the idea that the measurement accurately captures the variable that it's supposed to be measuring, that the test is measuring what it's designed to test. For example, does the trust game really measure trust and trustworthiness? So we're going to talk about a few different types of validity. We're going to talk about face validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity, and how they contribute to construct validity. Now, your book talks about a few other types of validity, and while they're important, I just feel like it's kind of a little bit overwhelming. And they kind of talk about it a little separately or a little differently than I'm going to. So I just want you to keep in mind that we're going to talk about face validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity, and how all three of these contribute to construct validity. So that whatever your construct, what you're using to measure your construct, is it really a true measurement of that construct? So the first one we're going to discuss is face validity. Now, face validity, it's kind of like at the face value of the measurement. Is it look like what it's supposed to be measuring? Is there a superficial appearance or face value of the measure? Does it seem logical? Does it have the face value? Does it appear to be measuring what it's supposed to be measuring? And this one is probably, some might argue, kind of the least important, I suppose, or least scientific of the types of validity. Now, this can also be fairly subjective. So, we could think about it in terms of hot sauce paradigm, trust game. We've talked about those. So I'm going to try to use a couple different examples here. First, for IQ. Now, some of the IQ tests in particular have been called into question, are they really in measuring intelligence? And while some of the newer tests, they've been redesigned and the questions have been reformulated time and time again, they may be a little bit more representative. Some of the older test questions, when they first came out in, say, like in the 70s, if you look at some of those questions, they really don't have that face validity. Why does an ambulance have a siren? So the 1-point answer would be, so cars will get out of the way. But a 2-point answer might be, so that it can go very fast to get to the hospital, or the injured person in the cars will know to get out of the way. So again, this is kind of, maybe it's your experience and not really your intelligence. So if you haven't had experience with seeing an ambulance because of where you live, perhaps you might answer differently. Here's another older IQ question. Who wrote Romeo and Juliet? So the 2-point answer is both Shakespeare and Tchaikovsky. So, most people would say Shakespeare, or some, but probably not Tchaikovsky. And when you're thinking about this question in general, this really is to a certain demographics of people, perhaps, or it's besides a certain age, but a certain demographic of people. So this one, they show a picture and they think, hey, it doesn't have any wording, there's no reading required, anything like that. So they show this image and they simply ask, what's missing? Now, you might say, well, there's tennis rackets, tennis balls, people, all sorts of different things, right? But if you hadn't been exposed to the sport of tennis, you might not know that. So does that really measure how intelligent you are, or certain things that you've been exposed to? And some demographics might be more likely to be exposed to tennis than others. The next type of validity we're going to discuss is concurrent validity. So concurrent validity measures the amount of agreement between two different measures. So we could take the bus aggression questionnaire and the noise blast paradigm, and we can measure aggression both ways, and we can look and see how much agreement there is, or between the nose blast and the hot sauce paradigm, or all three of them. And so you're looking between, two or more different measures. All these three things measure that construct of aggression. And so a lot of times you'll see that in experiments. Well, they'll use different measurements to add more validity to their experiments. The third is predictive validity. So the idea here is, can the measure accurately predict the behavior or performance on a later task? So do scores that are obtained on a measure accurately predict the behavior according to theory? For example, do SAT scores predict success in college? Or does a clerical ability test, often given by employers, predict performance in a future clerical type of position? And I mean, as you know, SAT scores have come under scrutiny for many years. Some colleges have thought about eliminating them, and now with what's going on, they may be potentially eliminated. So again, do they have that predictive validity? For many years, colleges have said yes, they do predict future performance, but they have been called into question. So all three of these, face validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity, we say leads to construct validity, which is the extent to which a test or measurement actually measures or defines that theoretical construct. So the scores obtained from a measurement behave exactly the same as the variable themselves. So again, just to reemphasize, the way we're looking at this is that construct validity is validated using face validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity.